Good morning, everybody. Another day, another set of results from Southern Cross, and here we go again. Another set of fantastic results. This time, 3 holes from Rising Sun. These are holes drilled from the west to the east, at a high angle to the vein sets, and we're transgressing lots of high-grade veins. These holes were infill or extensions around existing intersections, and we were trying to infill at 30 to 50 meter spacing between previous holes, so extensions from those holes or between holes. And the big takeaway is that these holes hit these structures, these key priority structures that we targeted as expected. So the system is building continuity and demonstrating continuity, and that's what we want to see. So our model's holding up, and it demonstrates that you can build ounces in a system like this with a relatively low CV, a coefficient of variation, where you see this predictability and a much lower cost base than if you have to drill projects with a lot more closer space drilling. So it's very good on many levels. 3 holes, as I said. The key hole was hole 113. It hit high-grade gold from over 473 meters. There's some very high grades of gold there, up to 684 grams per ton. There were 8 intervals that went above 50 grams per ton. And you can see, no doubt, the results flashing across the screen in front of you here. Some of the key results: 0.9 meters at 332.9 grams gold equivalent, 4.1 meters at 23.4 grams gold equivalent, etc. There was 9 high-grade structures. Hole 114 was targeted to hit one vein, the RS100 vein, and that it did, and then it also hit another vein structure as well. Hole 110 was also a hole that hit quite a broad thickness of mineralization, but it drilled outside that host sequence, outside the rails of the ladder, and as a consequence, it was outside of that ladder, so it only got generally a lot lower grades, but so it helped constrain the system. So a fantastic set of results, but most importantly, they demonstrate continuity, build confidence in the system, and demonstrate that our model is holding up. If we walk through the figures in the press release, you can see figure 1 is a plan view looking down like a bird's eye view, showing all the intersections and the drill holes projected to surface. And you can see the 3 holes in the grey boxes as indicated. And then if we just go down to the next slide, that's between A and B. So we say that's a longitudinal section. So that's like slicing the loaf of bread along the long axis of the loaf of bread. And that's where we can see all the vein sets looking from the south to the north. So we're looking into the plane of the vein sets like this, basically. And you can see there's the vein sets are the light blue or the cyan color. There's 45 of those that we've found to date. Obviously, these holes hit in the Rising Sun area, and you can see that they're shown there. The key point there is to look at the 3 vein sets that are shown. Rising Sun vein 10, 80 and 100 are the vein sets that we've chosen to show as the rest of the figures. So we'll look in and out of the plane, if you like, into each one of those individual vein sets to have a look at where the holes intersected. And you can see the holes on figure 2 transect across multiple vein sets. So in 113, we hit 9 of those cyan structures, the vein sets. So we'll just look at a couple of them in this is actually a long section of the vein itself now. So it's going from the northwest to the southeast. If we look at figure 3, and this is showing a number of things. We've got the dike itself, which is the dark green, and then the green and the buff color are the altered sediments. Basically, this is taken straight from our leapfrog model. You can see the intersections of the drill holes as they pass through that vein. They're just thrown as little little lines, and that's where the drill hole intersects that specific vein. So we've chopped the drill hole down just to a little bit of the drill hole that we can see. And then you can see the spacing in between. So the intersection in hole 113 there was 4.1 meters at 23.4 grams gold equivalent. It was 46 meters below and 40 meters above the previous intersections that are shown there. And if you look above that, there's another, I've got to do the maths on the fly, but about 50 plus meters right through to the very highest grades we were seeing. Actually a lot more, nearly 100 meters to the very highest grades we were seeing in hole 107, which was the earlier release we made in March, the 1 meter at 2,300 grams. So that structure has such great continuity. There's more drilling. It shows along the page that it's up to 60 or 70 meters long. If you take it out to hole 64, out on the left-hand side of the page, and that extension of that vein is about 160 meters. We're just looking at a part of that vein. It does continue if you go below there, and you can see the very highest grades in the upper part there are shown in blue. There's a blue rectangle. That's where we're going to come in and drill at a lot more closer spacing, about 20-meter spacing with wedges, just to focus on those extremely high grades you see in hole 92 and 107 up the top there. If we take it down to the next vein set, that's vein set 80, and again you can start to see that this is over a much larger distance, 580 meters this vein, and the same colors relate there to the dike and the altered sediment and the mineralized vein domain that you can see in the legend. And here hole 113 hit the 0.9 meters at 156.8 grams gold equivalent. The ETW there is estimated true width of that vein, and you can see that we have a hole 52 meters above and 34 meters below. So you can see the spacing. So we're aiming for that spot, and bang, we hit as expected, like we did in the vein set in figure 3. And then figure 5 is the same thing again. This is RS 100 vein, and this is giving a demonstration of hole 114, where we had spacings of around 35 to 40 meters of hole distances around that 114 intersection, which was 2.7 meters at 19.7. So all fantastic results. They've all got context in the plane of the vein, and we hit those very high grades where we expected. So we're building continuity. We're building those ounces in this deposit as we infill, and it's actually absolutely what you want to see is when you drill out one of these projects, that you want to see that continuity, and you want to be able to put those intersections into the wireframe as you build this out. The strategy of the company, or the KPIs, the key performance indicators that we set for ourselves, are grade, volume, and scale, basically. And so we've just been talking about grade and chasing grade and targeting grade, and that's what we've been doing. And that's one way to build ounces, is to focus on the highest grade parts of this system. It's also to build out volume and extend this system. And we've got a lot to do on that 1 by 1 kilometer area. We're about a third of the way through that, which is a little box if you look at figure 6 down on the left-hand side. So we're about a third of the way through that black box down on the bottom southwestern corner. But if you see the extensions of the system, it's over at least 11 kilometers. That ladder structure that we see extends for that 11 kilometers, the same geology, same rails, and the rungs of the ladder, which are the mineralized veins. There are parallel dike structures that form the rails of the ladder. Up at Aftermath there you can see, and there's some more detail if you really look in there. There's other parallel zones as well. So this is what we want to see. We want to see the system has expansion potential, staying on that Lassonde curve and building the volume and the grade is the key. And big systems have big footprints, and this certainly has a big footprint. So here we are going to show you something just a little bit different in how to envisage how this system works. So here we have the main area. You can see the rails of the ladder, the rungs in the LiDAR here, what we can see even from the 1870s that the old timers mined. If we just go underground and quickly have a look at what we can see here, here we have the underground mines. They went down to 200 meters for the most part. Here's that one vein that made it to surface that we talked about in the press release. And then it continues right down through here. The veins are in grey. The bubbles are the gram meter hits, so greater than 500 are in red here. So that's the way we can start focusing on the very, very highest grades. The orange are greater than 100. The yellow are 50 to 100, and the green 20 to 50. You can see some of the very high highlights, the highest grades highlighted in the words, and the yellow holes are those that are in the lab. But what we're going to do here now is just look at how this system actually starts to work in a bit more detail, which Verify is fantastic at looking at this sort of scale, and we can see the 1.2 by 1 kilometer. You can see the gram meter hits with the legend there with the drill holes off. So it's quite a larger scale. But what I'd like to do is just show you something in a bit more detail. So we'll zoom in to what is actually hole 107, which was the last hole we put out in March prior to this latest press release. This is basically starting up near surface, and we're looking at the hole drill into the ground. And all the bubbles there you can see are the holes above and below that hole. We know there's a lot more, but we'll just keep it simple and show this hole as it progresses down through the ground here, going from near surface up through here down to nearly a kilometer down at this end. You can see the rails of the ladder. The green is the dike and the brown is the altered sediment. And you can see when I go show you a bit more detail, these are the rungs of the ladder. So let's just zoom in down. We'll zoom past a few rungs of the ladder, and you can see here there's two veins sets here in the drill hole, and we know their orientation because we orientate our drill holes, and we know exactly that orientation. We've got thousands of measurements, and this is how it was mined, way above this hole, about 400 meters above this hole by the old timers also. You can see the 3 meters at 21 grams here, and the 15 meters at 15 grams down through here in this intersection. There's also another one close here at 2.9 meters at 22. Take a look at the estimated true widths there also. They're the true widths when we take into account the angle of the intersection of the structures and the drill hole. So you can see sometimes they're close together, and a hypothetical situation is that they probably could be mined together, whereas you're dealing with individual veins through here. So you can start to see how they relate to each other. Where they sit within the rails of the ladder is really important. So you can see a thinner vein here. You can see the meter at 2,300 grams there that we've spoken about a lot. That intersection is right in what we call the hanging wall of this structure, because this dike dips to the north. So these rocks basically sit on top of the dike if it's dipping to the north, which is that way. And this side would be the footwall. And it's important for those who understand these systems probably a bit more. You can start to see that you can go across faults here, and the rails of the ladder just get offset, and the drill hole can then be next time just into the footwall position. And there's 2.7 meters at 14 grams in that intersection there, for example. So it's important to know where we are within the structure, and we're starting to understand that detail, and we know where the grade compartmentalizes in the hanging wall, footwall, and in the dike itself. We're starting to understand that. So that's just a wonderful way to look at the detail of this evolving system. Cumulatively, now we've drilled 113 drill holes for 46 kilometers into this project. And the project now contains 34 greater than 100 gram per ton meter hits, if we use gold equivalent there. That strike rate, so if you take the 34 divided by the amount of drilling, and you get on average how often you hit one of these high-grade intersections, compares extremely favorably. In fact, I haven't been able to find anything much better in the world today with that hit rate, and we've been looking. But please write into us if you can find a project that has that frequency of high-grade hits. So not only is this building very nicely with the confidence and the continuity that these holes show, but we're delivering more gold than most projects are on Earth at the moment. Our strategy we've discussed, and that's essentially to say on that Lassonde curve, make this bigger, demonstrate how it holds together. We've got 4 rigs drilling. We've got 10 holes in progress or in the lab, and our stated aim is to increase the drill capacity. So each quarter you'll see additional rigs come to site, and we'll have more information about that as we get closer, but certainly not slowing down, only increasing the pace here that the quality of a system like this deserves.